Overwatch 2 has role passives, and they are a big deal. Like, all of these make a huge difference to the game. Let's go ahead and get into what we think are the most impactful of them, though. And if I did have to crown one role's role passives, it would at the moment be tank. I just think getting two role passives when everyone else is working with one role passive is too big a deal. You can look at this, it's 30% knockback resistance. It's not full CC resistance. It won't reduce how long you slept, for example, but it does cause you to get booped away less as a tank, which is pretty useful for really making your health last that extra second because you can stick to the target better, get work done. And then you also generate 30% less ult, both when you take damage and when you get healed. And you might look at this and go, hey, that's neutral, that's perfectly balanced, it's not a gain or a negative, but you'd be wrong by thinking so. Totally understand why you would think that would be the case, but what you're actually looking at here is it's a bit of a de-incentive to shoot at you during the fight. Yes, you're absolutely still going to get shot at. People are going to try to peel you off them, that sort of thing. But it's a little bit of a disincentive to shoot at you. It means an ult is less likely to come out to help someone out. And it doesn't so much matter that much that your support doesn't get as much ult charge from healing you, because they were really looking to do that between the fights anyways. The way tanks currently are with their higher survivability right now mostly is in the realm of they can go pretty hard, they only need a little bit of healing during the fight, and you're mostly going to heal them up after. It's much less what you might have seen in Overwatch 1 of, let me just keep pumping BAP heals again and again and again into my Reinhardt. You're going to see a fair amount less of that, and a fair amount more of, hey, this fight resolves a little more quickly, the support is having to duel for themselves a little bit more, that sort of thing. The tank goes in, spends the health that it has, and then gets out, that sort of thing. So it tends to work out there, and I am going to call this tank passive set the best of them. But from here, it gets really hard. We could look at damage passives, we could look at support passives, and what are you going to do? If you look at the damage passive, 10% movement speed, that is amazing, and you can never go wrong picking movement speed. And long term, I think I am going to pick movement speed. Long term movement speed might even be better than the combination of tank passives. But what 10% move speed does is it actually does three things for you. The first thing it does is the most basic, and this is people have probably figured out, oh, it's easier to stick to your target. If you're jumping on a Zen, jumping on an Ana, and you're a Tracer, a Genji, a Sombra, it's easier to stick to them. Even if they run around a corner, you can follow them pretty well. Yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty good. Works for me. On the other hand, what else you can run into here would be, hey, that makes sense, but we can move faster as well. We can come back from spawn faster. We get more total fights because we've got 10% faster movement speed. Well, how does it matter? If you've got 10% faster movement speed, that only matters if not everyone dies. And you're right, but there should be plenty of opportunities where you get picked, and then your team is able to back out when you get picked, at least once we get into ranked play, organized play, any of these things a little more than quick play, even just quick play 5 stacking, you back out when someone gets picked, and that person can come back faster if they were a DPS. And your DPS is probably going to be getting picked sometimes because the third thing that this passive does is it lets you stage faster, or it lets you take your angles faster. If you want to stake out there as a soldier on an angle, as a sojourn on an angle, as a widow on an angle, you get to rotate into your spot faster. And that's a big deal. People aren't doing the greatest job of it yet because they're just not used to the way the game works with your off tank deleted, or with having one of your two tanks deleted anyways. So you're in a situation where it feels a little worse. People haven't really gotten super comfortable taking all their angles at every level of play yet. But as people get better, just like they did in Overwatch 1, we're gonna see more angle control, more doing this stuff, and DPS is gonna have a big part, and movement speed is gonna help them with that quite a bit. So that I am, long term, going to call the second best passive. That said, right now, I'd actually look at it, and I'd actually say that at this moment in time, we're probably looking at the support passive as the second most impactful. This is mostly because people aren't making great use of the DPS one yet, but we can see here we'll read Karku's take. Apparently a hot take, supports are actually good. This whole time, I thought the passive kicked in after 2 seconds, but it's 1 second before 15 health per second. 1 second. Each day, players are making better adjustments with natural cover to synergize with the passive. And then he goes on, and you can see a day or so ago, ML7 7 had a similar take of, wait, the passive is actually really good. This is a big deal. And this matters. If you think about this, this makes a ton of differences. This means that, hey, that Lucio that you were trying to eliminate that has decent movement, you just can't do it anymore because, hey, even if he's in speed or increasing his mobility, he's potentially getting healed. If you can't stick your damage to him, if you don't have like a tracer or a soldier weapon that has tracking, or if you go for a reload or anything like that, or if you're in a situation where, hey, you were going Brig is great. Brig having that passive and having such a powerful version of it, she can literally just put her shield up for a moment and her passive starts going. And that's fantastic, and it really helps out a hero that used to struggle to get Inspire going. It gives her quite a bit more durability. Similar things with Zen, Bap, Ana. They don't have to use Regenerative Burst or Nade on themselves. They can use those more offensively. They don't have to go, oh, I got chipped down by Soldier or Sojourn. I need to use Regenerative Burst. No, they can hold on to Regenerative Burst and still have it for when that Tracer comes after them, because that chip damage got healed off, and they have it for the more active fight because they used cover plus their passive. Or, in the case of Ana, took a little chip damage, don't care, still perfectly comfortable throwing my nade at that group, doing those things. I can just close cover for 2 seconds, and then what do you know? I have 15 health back. If I close it for a third second, I've got 30 health back. Hey, this is looking pretty good, especially because at that point, they probably don't immediately flick back onto you, and your health keeps going up. So that just works really, really well. I do think this is probably the weakest of the passive sets, the support passive, but it's a tough call. All of these passives are really good. And well, at this moment, as people are still learning the support, still learning this passive, it might not quite yet be the second strongest, but I think we're very quickly going to get to a place where we go, yeah, this is the second strongest support, until people really figure out, and this is going to take much longer, what they're doing with map control, and we can promote this damage one again. But what do you guys think? Are you enjoying this? Are you not enjoying this? What do you think about the passives? Do you feel like, hey, the support one is good, damage, movement is freaking great? Or does it feel bad, the tank passive, that, hey, you don't get ult charge from healing tanks anymore? Or what are you guys thinking? Would you put these passives in a significantly different order? Let me know your order in the comments down below. If you're enjoying the content, please drop a like. Consider subscribing to be kept up to date on thought-provoking Overwatch 2 topics. And that'll do it for now. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Temporal out.